asiento ke bawah. Amerika. For the past week, I have been watching hundreds of unexplainable, mysterious videos of people encountering ghosts on the web. Now, a lot of these were dumb and obviously fake.
Can you tell me your name?
These nuts.
Totally.
But others, not so much. I've gathered the craziest, unexplainable, mysterious ones that I could find to react to and break down for you today. Now, I will say that this video is definitely one of my creepier ones, and you should not be watching if any of the following are true. A. It is past 9 o'clock p.m. B. You are under the age of 2. And C. You are alone. If you decide to continue watching while any of these are true, I wish you luck. With that being said, let's begin with number 1, the haunted cemetery. A security guard who works at the cemetery says he kept on hearing things and seeing things while he's at work. He ends up telling his friends and family what he's hearing and what he's seeing, and obviously nobody really believes him. So he takes it upon himself to find some proof. He records this with his phone.
So, I'm actually hearing something banging on the door. I'm hoping I'm going to catch this son of a bitch. I don't know where the hell these people are, or where. Jesus fucking Christ.
So as you guys can see, he hears banging on the door, and he goes to investigate it, which was the first mistake because right after that, someone or something drops something on the floor. Me personally, that would be my cue to quit, but not for this security guard. He decides to keep working there, and what he captures next actually blows my mind. Check this out.
Anybody in here? Where you at? I can't see you. You're correct. So you need to come out, okay?
Absolutely terrifying. He asks the ghost, "Where are you?" And the ghost responds with something that I personally can't really hear, but the man responds with, "I can't see you. You are correct." So she most likely said, "You can't see me." So we need to see all the clips before we can really speak about this, because what happens shortly after honestly seals the deal for me.
Okay, guys. I'm really not sure what's going on here. Nope. Yeah, I'm fucking done. This is some spooky fucking shit going on here.
Okay, well, that gives me the chills every time that I watch it. I strongly believe this video is real. It's crazy, but I've experienced even crazier things, so I actually believe this. Anyways, let's move on to number 2, because these only get crazier. Number 2, the Dollhouse Curse. So I got this entire story from a YouTuber named Bizarre Bub. He's one of my favorite YouTubers to watch when I'm breaking down these haunted videos because he puts out amazing content. The story goes like this. A man named Daniel Thompson lives with his mother in a 3-story house. Now, the mother owns a lot of antiques, and I'm just gonna be honest, weird stuff. There's a bunch of mannequins hanging around the house. There's a giant dollhouse. There's ventriloquist dolls and porcelain dolls and all these just really creepy things in the house. So Daniel claims that he hears tapping in the room of the dollhouse. Here's a clip.
Sometimes when I walk by, or like I go, the bathroom's back there, and I walk through and I hear like tapping coming from this room. It's like it's like like the tapping kept happening, and I came over and I was trying to figure out like where it was coming from, but it was coming from this dollhouse, and I don't know where, and it hasn't done it since.
Pretty creepy, and for me, kind of hard to believe. But then sure enough, he has proof in the next clip. Watch this.
Those are the tapping noises I was talking about. Where is this coming from? It's like knocking at the door. Hello?
So after this, Daniel decides he might actually have some paranormal activity in the house that he's living in, especially with that dollhouse, of course. So he takes a security camera and he points it right at the dollhouse, and he just wants to see what he could capture. He gets this. Then a couple nights later, this happens. So first we have the dollhouse knocking, then we have the pieces moving, then the knocks at the door. So Daniel's freaked out at this point and he decides to put the dollhouse in the garage, but he still keeps a security camera on it. Couple days go by, nothing happens, but then Daniel gets a text from his mom saying something like, hey, there was somebody running behind me, I promise you, check the footage. And when Daniel checks the footage, this is what he sees.
I went over to America 10 years ago, found my luck, and I've been there ever since. Yeah. They call us the Hollywood Rock.
He then checks the footage of the dollhouse at the exact same time that somebody was running, and this happens. Make sure you guys are watching the doll's eyes. Now that we've seen the whole thing, let's decide if this is real or fake. So let's start with the dollhouse. First, we hear the knocking. Now, me personally, I don't think that this is 100% ghosts because knocking is way too easy to fake. There are so many ways to mimic knocking, and it's just hard to tell if it's real or not. So since we can't tell if the knocking is real or fake, we have to use a tactic that I love using and one that I studied a lot in high school and throughout my whole life, and that's behavioral science. And just based off the way that Daniel reacted to this, I could tell you that it's more than likely fake. Now, I say this because fast forward to this scenario right here, when Daniel hears a knocking at the door, You can tell that he was obviously startled by the knock. Then he gets creeped out by the dollhouse. He literally puts it in the garage. Now, why is this important? Well, by Daniel doing this, he's showing us that he is uncomfortable with what's going on. He doesn't like it. He wants the dollhouse away from him. He's jumping at a knock at the door. Even though it was late at night, whatever, he's still scared. It shows that he's not the Incredible Hulk. Things still scare him. So when we look back at the knocking at the dollhouse, you can see how comfortable he is. Look how close he is. He's putting his face right up against the dollhouse. Look how he gets a literal cinematic of the dollhouse from floor to floor, room to room. Now, to get that steady of a cinematic shot, you'd have to be looking at your camera. Now, put yourself in that position. If that was you, would you get that close to the noise, let alone look away from it? You gotta imagine, he's like this. The dollhouse is right in front of him, and he's like this, looking at his phone. He's not looking at the dollhouse, he's looking at his phone. Then he opens the door to the dollhouse as if he's playing with the spirit. Now, as for the pieces moving on the dollhouse, I can't really explain it. There's hundreds of ways you could do that. There's strings. I'm not going to go in detail about it because there's no way to know for sure. But let's take a look at the knocking at the door. From what we can see, Daniel is at the door within the first 3 knocks. So at first I said to myself, wow, that's pretty quick for somebody to wake up, realize that somebody is knocking at the door, because you guys heard it, it's not a traditional knock. It's not knock, knock, knock. It's knock, knock, knock. I know it's probably happened to some of you guys where you wake up to a bang and it was in your dream, but you kind of thought it was in real life. You don't just get up and go looking around the house. No, you kind of tell yourself like, maybe I was dreaming. For him to wake up, realize it was a knock, and keep in mind it's a 3-story house. For him to know exactly which door it was from, keep in mind, look at how he comes into the frame. He walked downstairs. That's quick. But since we don't see any footage prior to this, we don't know if there was any knocks prior to it either. So somebody could argue that maybe he just cut out the other knocks because nothing happened prior. But then I realized earlier in the video, Daniel talked about there being exactly the same amount of knocks at the door as there was in the dollhouse, meaning he didn't cut any of the knocks out. They're all there. So the theory that he got there pretty quick is now valid again. Next, he opens the door at 2:30 a.m., which is just not normal for somebody to do, especially an unarmed person. This could be a robbery. Then he sees nobody there, closes the door, and decides to just stare at the statue. There's still potentially somebody knocking at the door, somebody watching you, somebody outside your house. Something is going on. There's a danger. You're going to turn your back on that threat for almost 30 seconds, almost looking like you're waiting for something, and then boom, the knock happens again. Too perfect. Now, finally, the mom hearing the footsteps. Let's look at her demeanor. When she hears the footsteps, her initial reaction is good. It makes complete sense, and I actually got really confused when I saw it because it looked so genuine. She even touches the back of her neck and kind of runs her fingers through her hair, which means that somebody's insecure, confused, or embarrassed. It almost fooled me, but after watching it a few more times, I found the tells. Look what she does right after she hears the footsteps. She looks away from the potential danger. She looks at the floor, she looks at the TV, she looks at the other room, which regardless where she was looking, her back was towards the noise, the potential thief, the potential murderer in your house. She calmed down way too quickly. You hear footsteps like that when you're home alone, it's going to be at least 3 minutes of extreme panic. If not extreme panic, paranoia. Put yourself in her position and really try to imagine how you'd react to something like that. Now, if you don't want to be biased, imagine any of your friends in that same position. We all react in different ways, running to a corner, running outside, grabbing your phone, calling somebody, staying quiet to see what we hear next. But one thing that we all keep in common, we keep our eye on the potential danger. That is more than enough for me to concur that this is false. As for the doll blinking, it's creepy, but again, there's a lot of ways to fake that, and I'm not going to get too into that. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think that's real or do you think that's fake? Now with that, let's move on to the most horrific story in this whole entire video. I'm not even joking. If you're home alone right now, you are going to absolutely hate me. But don't worry, I'm here with you every step of the way. I tried showing this video to Leslie, and let's just say she didn't really last that long watching it. I'm going to save everybody the trouble and just let you know that this video is 100% real. So this one comes from none other than Bizarre Bub's channel as well, and the story goes like this. There was a home that belonged to a family of cannibals. They would take a human, kill that human, and grind the body, the whole body, bones, eyeballs, everything, and they would make exotic dishes out of it. The family passed away and the home remained in its natural state. The home was in Poland. I don't even want to say this part right now, but on New Year's Eve 2022, a 20-year-old woman named Kamilka, I'm so scared to even say that name right now. Her and her friends were in that home New Year's Eve. They're probably drinking, and they do the worst thing possible. They play the Ouija board. Yep, welcome to the dangers of the Ouija board, something I always talk about on my channel. So apparently something goes wrong, and the neighbors end up calling the cops because they hear banging and screaming in the next house. Shortly after, the cops arrive, and then paramedics arrive. This is what the paramedic captured on her phone.
Jezu, jak to ona tak warczy? Ja pierdzielę. No, totalnie.
Pierdolę, ja dostaję tylko 5000 zł, kurwa, tam. Idź tam do...
Uważaj.
Kamilka! Kamila!
Ona jest nad nami u góry, od góry coś widzi.
Znamiony byśmy się zamienili pozycjami, to mógłbyśmy sami zrobić. Odsuń się i
Nie?
uważaj, bo łeb, kurwa, zostanie.
Drut ma jakiś.
Nie, niech pan wyjdzie i odwrócimy go.
Holy shit, guys, I actually feel weird doing a story about this because it can happen to anybody. I've experienced Ouija boards firsthand and know that this is real. This could really happen. It's dangerous. But listen to what happens next. They realize that she's not in that room. She's in the room above because she's like dangling her feet down and stuff. So they go outside. They place a ladder right by the window where she's hiding, and look at what they captured.
Tu jesteś, cichusko. Chodź, misiu. Nie bardziej jak świnia, kurwa. Chodź. Chodź tu, kurwo. Chodź tu. Chodź tu, Kamilka. Kamilka, tu też cię widzę. To nie czołgaj się. Kamilka. Dziecko cię woła. Kamilka. Wiktoria cię woła.
Did you guys see her damn face? She really looked possessed. Her hair, her face, the way she's moving, the way she's afraid of people, it's insane. So after that, they end up capturing her. They take her to the hospital where she's met with a psychologist. So people say that when she got to the hospital, that's when she started acting normal. And they do blood tests, nothing. No signs of like a disorder, PTSD, no traces of any type of drugs in her system at all. Her family said she's never ever acted that way and was even shy. I know 100% that this is real, not a prank. Nobody would do that, especially a shy person with a daughter that could easily get killed. Like, cops are aiming guns and tasers at you. You're not going to keep on acting like that unless something is actually wrong. And to anyone who thinks this is staged, those cops are real. The paramedics are real. Everything was real. Listen to the growls. Look at the way she's moving. Let me spit some facts real quick. A demon wants to possess a body. That's a fact. And when I say demon, I don't mean any spirit. I mean a demon, an evil spirit. When this demon possesses a body, they want to stay in control of it. Now, the person inside is said to be somewhat conscious. Not entirely, but people say it feels like a very realistic dream. Now, the demon will get very angry when a person tries to retake control of their body. There's a perfect example of this when you hear the officers say her name and the way that the demon reacts to it. She wants to respond to the officers. It's like a cry for help. The human is trying to regain control. That's why you hear the demon growl, because the demon is also fighting back. Another perfect example is when the officers say Kamilka's daughter's name. You could tell the human was trying very hard to remain in control. Like, who knows what happened during that Ouija board session? It could have been a simple mistake, like she took her hand off without saying goodbye, or they could have just encountered a really aggressive spirit that wants to cause them harm. Now, I did a lot of research about possessions, and I just want to share some with you guys because they are absolutely crazy. So there's different types of demons. Some demons want to take over a body and pretend like it's normal and wants to live its life. So anybody could be possessed and you just don't know. But some demons want to cause actual harm and pain. They'll take over a body and literally jump into a fire or drown itself or any other way to kill itself. Now, there's priests out there who've actually done exorcisms and they've spoke about it, like for educational purposes. And what they say is insane. Like, it kept me up at night. Oh my God, like my heart is literally beating right now trying to tell you guys this. The priests say that when you're face to face with the person that's possessed, you're speaking to the demon, and the demon tells you all of your deepest, darkest secrets in front of everybody in the room. They say that the number one thing about being a priest who does exorcisms is knowing that all your secrets are going to come out because the demon is going to say all of them in front of everyone in that room. They also spit, they poo themselves, they pee themselves. They'll do anything to make the person who's doing the exorcism go away. Now, there are two priests doing an exorcism at once. One of them is there to actually perform the exorcism. The other one is there to help him, to make sure he doesn't do something wrong, say something wrong. And the scariest part, to make sure that he's there to help him when he becomes physically weak or dies and takes his place to continue the exorcism. Guys, exorcisms and possessions, in my opinion, are the scariest thing on earth. I hope I never see them unless it's like on a YouTube video. I hope I never encounter them. I hope no possessions ever happen around me. That is by far the craziest thing, because no matter how strong-minded you are, no matter what, it can happen to anybody out there. That's a fact. It could happen to me. It could happen to, I'm sorry to say this, it could happen to you. It's just random. That freaks me the out. Well, guys, with that story absolutely weirding me out, I'm gonna end the video here. Real quick though, last video I asked for 100,000 likes. I just recently looked back at the video. We're at a measly 30,000 likes. Kind of sad about that, kind of not, because it's still insane. But guys, please, if there's any possible way we could just try to hit 100,000 likes, I would be so happy if we could do it. If you guys would just be so amazing to hit that like button, hit that sub button, turn on post notifications, and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. My links are in the description. If you want to get in contact with me, that is the best way. I read all my DMs. I read everything, guys. Just hit me up. I read it all. With that being said, it's been your boy Sherman, and I'm out. Peace.